Phil Jackson, my guy. Phil Jackson was a basketball coach for the Los Angeles Lakers. Chicago Bulls won 11 championships in the NBA. I said to someone recently that if there was anyone I would ever want to meet in life, Phil Jackson is one of them. Maybe Paul McCartney as well. I've learned so much from Phil. So I had a near-death experience in 2018, and I was just looking like, how do I improve? How do I make my life better, right? And I reread the book Sacred Hoops. And in this, he outlines, I think this is after the 4th championship with the Bulls, but he outlines the philosophy that he instilled into the Chicago Bulls that made them so successful. And I thought, if Michael did this, and then eventually Kobe, the results speak for themselves, right? So I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I'm just going to copy. I'm just going to do what Phil says and see the results. And it's remarkable. Now, what Phil is known for is bringing like mindfulness and meditation into professional sports, or certainly having succeeded in doing that. The goal is to win a championship, right? And he viewed it, though, as more of like a journey. And there's the collective goal of winning a championship, and everybody on the team has a role. Some roles are bigger than others, but each role is important for the ultimate success of the group. And his idea was 5 guys thinking as one will defeat 5 guys thinking all for themselves, for 5 guys, right? It's so simple. What we want to do is clear our mind so that we can just react to what is happening. We become aware of what is happening. A big word is awareness. Awareness, awareness, awareness. Now, on the basketball court, so many times we're thinking about the shot we just missed, or what's going on after the game, or sometimes in life, what's going on off the court. What we want to do is be present, be here now, and play with joy and that sense of spirit, and Phil did a great job of getting individuals in professional sports to reduce their ego in a way where you can have a shared sense of ownership, in the results. So we brought mindfulness, meditation, and bring it into practice, and they spend time just breathing, right? And this is something that I started implementing. I didn't do meditation until Phil, Clearly the results work, so I was very open to trying what Phil was expressing in his book, Sacred Hoops. And it probably took me about 9 months to really see some results. And even I was open to that because he highlights in the book, when you're learning the triangle system, it's a system where there are multiple options. What you're doing is just reading the defense, and with everybody kind of thinking and seeing the same thing, because all you're doing, again, is not forcing, but just reacting. So you don't necessarily have to run set plays. You're not imposing. What you're doing is just being open, just being aware, and you just make the right decisions. Which is a beautiful thing to have, people working together in unison, convincing. And to Michael's credit, he was coachable. He was very open to Phil's approach. Like, he wanted to win a championship because until this point in his career, this is the early 90s, he was an individual, superstar and MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, MVP. 1988 season is like Michael's like greatest individual year. But that is what burned at Michael. Is like, to be the best, it's all about championships. And with championships, you need a team. So as an individual, I've been able to like elevate my life, but I'm also instilling Phil's principles in the things that I do, and building Blue Byron books, building out a team, building out, in today's age of, we're talking about individualism and ego in the 1990s. Like, now with the internet and the digital age, it's even more difficult to get people to understand that if you work together, you can achieve something greater. In order to do great things, you need other people, and there needs to be like a shared sense of vision that people can believe in, be inspired by, and be okay with taking a little less upfront, right? For the overall long-term goal or health of something you're trying to achieve. And it's something today that is difficult and challenging for people to see, is like, a lot of people want everything up front, and everybody is self-oriented, what's in it for them. And, how do you then build a greater sense of belonging, community, and something greater than one's self, right? So Phil has been so influential on me as an individual, and as I'm building and growing. Phil Jackson, very interesting guy. Like, I really appreciate, he's the individual I've learned most from outside of like family and immediate. And that's what's amazing with books too, and the proliferation of information is like, you can learn from so many different sources. And Phil Jackson, one of my greatest sources of inspiration and knowledge. Beautiful.